It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
Hello, model citizens. Welcome to Junction. Tonight on Trains and Tech, we'll take a couple more inches closer to tearing out part of that corner of the layout over there and moving forward. I went to a couple op sessions this weekend, and several people asked me, when are you going to be operating the layout again? And I haven't scheduled anything because I keep thinking I'm going to start tearing out that corner of the layout, and then I don't do it. So we're gonna inch closer. I don't know quite how far we're gonna get, but we're gonna inch just a little bit closer. Before we get started with that, though, I think it's kind of funny. Before the show starts, like I go through in my head, I say, okay, like here's what, I'm gonna do the introduction. I'm gonna say hello, model, blah, blah, blah. And every time before the show starts, I'm like, wait, how does it go? And like, I can't remember the pattern. And I eventually get to the point where I just say, forget it. When it starts, I'll just start. And then it just comes out. So I don't know what that is. Some kind of like weird brain thing that's going on, but I don't know. Who knows if I even have a brain at this point. But what we're talking about today is that corner down there. That corner down there needs to change, right? So if we go over a little closer, if this camera still works, and oh, there we go. Okay, camera works. So what happens now is this is the staging, and it cuts basically across in front of this industry. And what I want to do is I want to move this back to here, and I'm going to move this basically up into here. So we're going to flip these. So this turnout here needs to connect to this. And then I need to add it. I need to basically take this. You'll see. We'll get there. What I did was I kind of, microphone's not working. I can, oh, very buzzy. Oh. Did that make it any better at all? I don't know. We'll see. Is it better? Is it not better? Now it's okay. So I started in AnyRail, and I basically started with a I think it was this version of the layout, and this is kind of upside down now. So I started out with this, and this has that original plan where it, you know, cuts across, and I don't know what I was thinking when I first came up with this, but I don't know, that's what I did. So I started moving things around, and eventually I got to this, which essentially swaps, you know, this industry here and the staging. I don't know, maybe you can, I don't know. But then what I did is, I started trying to figure out how to get it swapped out. And what I normally did basically is I would just kind of take and I would make just a version that I'm going to print, right? So this is the only section I'm going to print, and I'd print it all out like this, and I'd end up with all these pages, right? So this is this works out really well. This is a printout right out of AnyRail, if you don't know. What AnyRail does is when you print it, you can set it to print on multiple pages, and up in the corners, I guess if I zoom in, maybe people won't get too nauseous. Probably should have zoomed in a little slower. But at the corners, they give you these little match marks, so you can, like, you know, line up your corners, so you can kind of cut it and line it up. So you tape it all together, right? And once you tape it all together, you end up with something that looks, I don't know what I just knocked on the floor, but I just knocked something out on the floor. So this is the new version, right? So let me go over to this camera here. I'm getting to a problem, and I'm getting to what the solution to the problem is going to be. I think I lost them. So here's the double slip, here's the double slip. So that's not moving. So I can line that up there. And then over on this end, this turnout here isn't moving, so I can line the drawing up there, right? So great. Now I've got this drawing all laid out, but I need to figure out how to transfer it from the paper onto the deck. I don't know why the buzzing's coming back. Ed, is it you, or are other people hearing the buzzing too? It might be time to get a new, it's, what it probably is. Oh, you think when I walk over there, it's causing the buzzing? That's interesting. So we'll test it out, okay? So no buzz here. And then if we go to that camera, does it start buzzing when I go to that camera? Or if we go back to this camera, and then we go over here, does it start buzzing? I don't know. I'm just gonna, like, pace around in circles. It's an 8 o'clock show. I don't know. Sometimes I think it's just Ed has buzzing in his head. But okay, so the problem. We'll talk about the problem. We'll see. So the problem is, now that I've got this lined up and the other thing lined up on the other side, what I need to basically do is mark what needs to move and what needs to stay. Because the first thing I'm going to do is basically I need to either completely remove or loosen the other track. So I was emailing with Bob B. I don't know. I think I saw Bob here earlier. I don't know if Bob is still here. But Bob said, why don't you, instead of printing it out on paper like that, right? Paper, you can't see through it. Bob said, why don't you print it out on that transparency paper? And I was like, Bob, that's like a brilliant idea, because if I print it onto the transparency, then I can see through it and, like, be able to know. But I was kind of like, well, I don't know. Do they make transparencies that I can like print on? Well, of course they do. It's, you know, it's something that they do. So I had to print this little cheat sheet out. I'll show you. I printed them all out on transparency. The problem is because it's transparency, you can't tell which is up, down, or back and forth. But I did. I just bought some 8.5 transparency paper for my color laser printer. So instead of printing like this, I just printed it on this transparency like this. Right? So same exact thing. We have the transparency, we've got the little alignment marks and everything. So once I got it printed out, what I like to do, I dropped this on the floor, and now there is all kinds of floor stuff all over this, which is not good. So now that I did that, what I like to do is cut off some of the excess, right? So the benchwork in this section is narrower, so I'm just gonna I don't need to be real exact now because it is transparent. I already sense a problem coming, but when the problem comes, we'll deal with that problem when we get there. So I just cut this out, and because I am good like that, and I don't want to make you guys sit around and watch me do a lot of nothing, which, you know, it'd be like doing an unboxing or something like that. But what I did is I printed it all out ahead of time, and I am just going to, let's see. We'll see if the buzzing starts. What I'm going to do is I'll lay this down like this, and we'll remove the paper version. And now, theoretically, with the paper version gone, I should be able to, and I say should, because as you can now see, it's a little bit harder, ish. I don't know. No, I guess it's not. I guess it's fine. It's pretty easy to line up, I guess. Not really any issues. It's lining up pretty well. There is kind of a little bit of a problem that happens because I had a hard time laying out the corners, right? So, interesting. I wonder why it does that. I wonder what is in that corner. Well, maybe I might be moving the receiver. Maybe that'll be the trick. I'll move the receiver. Okay. Because rooms are not square, the corner isn't square. The paper is done off of a CAD drawing, so the CAD drawing doesn't perfectly line up. So things are a little off. So what I'm probably going to end up doing, or what I think I'm going to do, is I'm going to take this pencil and I am going to mark out the ends of where I want to remove the tracks so that I can start removing the tracks. And I apologize, it's going to buzz again, but if I don't go over there and do this, I'm not sure how to make it not buzz. Let's see if I do this. If I do this, I'll leave this, or I will attempt to leave this closer. I don't know. This isn't going to work. It's going to be a mess, but it's my first live stream at this time slot, so of course things are going to be messed up, right? All right, so here's, I don't know if you guys can see through this at all, but there's this turnout here, and then on this version, there's another turnout right here. Well, that turnout doesn't go there anymore. This turnout is going to move here. So what I need to do is I need to mark this somehow so that I know that that turnout needs to come out. And in addition to that turnout, I need to cut back this track, which I don't know if you can see where I'm marking right now, but this track is staging all the way to that point. So I need to remove this turnout, and this track here I need to loosen up and let it come around. So the other thing I need to do, and I can't see the chat right now, so if you guys are like yelling at me about something, just keep yelling. I'll get to it eventually. So the other thing I want to move is this track back here. I kind of made it at a sharp angle back in the day, and that was fine when this was just a little bit of an industry, but this is no longer an industry, so now it needs a little bit more of a gentle slope to it. So what I'm going to do is, starting from, we'll make it work, but basically starting from, back here, this track is going to need to get pulled up and re-shifted around so that it's a more gradual curve. Nothing changes on this blue track. On this red track here, I need to basically everything from here up to where? Everything from here up to where we're going to cut the turnout in. So we're going to cut the turnout in right here. So everything from there to there needs to come out. So did it help at all? Because you got slightly quieter over there. Honestly, what it sounds like is the mic is not picking up the sound. I don't know how the mic wouldn't be picking up the sound. Oh, you know what I wonder? No. Oh, but this could be what's happening. Shall we play a little game during the stream? Do 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 do. So here, I'll here a little bit of the behind the scenes. So what I do is I hide most of the mic input, so I'm only really seeing the two sources. I've hidden other sources. So what I think is potentially happening, and no, it's not. There is no other source right now that is active. Because the NDI source, what I thought was happening was the NDI camera. Oh, I got to go to the camera. There we go. Now that I went to the camera, let's see, unhide all. And now it's off. So here's with the NDI camera is not assigned to any audio tracks. All right. Yeah, it's not what I thought it is. It's not going to work. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to tell people. I don't know. Should we just cancel the stream and I'll go home? It's been a day. I gotta tell you, it's been a week. It hasn't even just been a day. It's been a week, and I don't know. It's gonna buzz. It'll be what it's gonna be. I'll try and remember before the next stream to figure it out. But I don't know. We'll figure it out. So I'm gonna roll this up. Oh, just if you're curious, yeah, I don't care. It's gonna buzz. If you're curious, this turnout here is gonna be a new curved turnout that's gonna go right in here. So if I do that properly, this should work out nice and give me, it should fix some things in this corner, hopefully. So let's roll this up. get this out of here, and we're gonna start pulling up some of this track. Because why not? So let's get this out of here. First thing I'm gonna do to start pulling up the track. So I got this bottle labeled water. I don't know, can you see it? I don't know where the camera is. Bottle labeled water. So this track here needs to come out. All of this in here needs to come out, and this backtrack here needs to come out. So what I'm gonna do is take this this wet stuff. I've just used PVA glue. So I'm trying not to, it's a fine line. I gotta wet it enough to get the PVA glue to soften, but obviously I don't want to wet it too much. This track here is not actually going to come out. It's going to stay, but this track here is actually going to come out. And I just realized what's going to be interesting about that is that I've got a squealer under here. So I am going to have to, in addition to everything that I'm moving here, I'm going to also have to move the squealer. So water's down, and now we just wait. You can actually see, you probably can't see, but I can actually see the glue already coming up in this area right there, which is kind of neat to me. You did turn off the layout before doing this? Yes, I actually did. I have one labeled not water, don't drink. Mine's labeled water, and then I have one that's called wet water. And then I do have another bottle that is 99% alcohol. But that is an actual like 99% alcohol one. So I think some days I think one labeled vodka would be good. No mention of quality production in the show notes. Yeah, exactly. Hey, I thought I was coming here for the quality programming. I know, I'll let you down. Did you lose a ground connection somewhere? I don't think so. I mean, you never know in these parts. I'm going to take a little bit of paper towel just to kind of, get over there and start maybe mopping some of this excess water up. Just to try not to, I don't want the wood too wet, right? I mean, wet wood is not good. Wet wood, wet wood's not good. So I'm just gonna start working on getting some of this excess water up. This has got to be throwing. I bet you this is almost as exciting as watching paint dry. I probably should have done a box opening during this stream. It might have added to the should have disconnected and removed everything underneath. Yeah, I'm trying to remove as little as possible and only remove what I need to remove. I actually have some feeders right here that I'm going to see. I probably am going to need to move them. They'll probably need to shift. But if I can get away with not shifting them, I'm probably going to just try and do that. What I'm not sure how I'm going to do yet is to, where I need to cut this track here, which means I need to pull this tie out. And I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to pull that tie out without taking up more of the track than I need to take up. I got these guys from a little store. I like this one because it's really flexible, but I kind of made a mess out of it. This one's much stiffer, so I don't like that one as much. But what I want to do now is just try and gently get under here if I can. And of course, I probably haven't waited long enough. I'm probably being generally impatient right now. Probably did not leave this quite long enough for all of the glue to come up. What I really want to do is get this up enough. This piece of track's going to get cut out This turnout's going to come out. This track is going to get cut somewhere as well. So what I really am just trying to do right now is kind of get this up enough that I can get my track cutters in here and cut that off so that I can kind of start getting this out of here. But my concern of just getting the track cutters and cutting is that track cutters need a little bit of space, right? Because track cutters actually sort of, crush the rail a little bit. I forgot I did that. There's some Tamiya tape coming up. I did a tiny bit of, is this camera frozen? No, there's my hand. There's a tiny bit of Tamiya tape coming up. I did a little bit of a super elevation in this curve when I first laid this track down. So I forgot that was under there. That's definitely going to have to come up as well. This is coming up pretty good. I want to try and save some of the wires on the bottom of that so I don't have to completely resolder things, but I think I got this enough that I can at least get some of that track pulled out. Of course, this is, cutting that first piece of track, it's the point of no return. So before I do that, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to drink some of my drink, contemplate my life's choices, try and decide if I really want to actually do this. If anybody wants to talk me out of it, now is the appropriate time to start screaming into the camera, telling me, no, Heath, don't do it, stop. You probably have about another 30 seconds to try and get me to stop. Joey says, go for it. See, Cameron's on Team Heath. Cameron says, just leave it. I think right now we're 1 for 1, right? We got Joey saying go for it, Cameron saying leave it, John saying proceed with caution. I don't know if that's a leave it or do it. Of course, Don's gonna say do it. Don is Mr. Rip out your railroad and start over. Well, at least Don convinces other people to rip out their railroads and start over. I don't know how often he's done it himself. So I actually want to cut this back here. I don't know how well you can see this on camera, but eventually this is going to be cut back here. But just to give myself a little wiggle room, I'm going to go 2 ties up, and I'm actually going to cut it here. That'll just give me a little bit of space to work with things, get things a little bit more where I want them, be able to massage things a little bit. We're also going to cut into here. So here's the double slit. I'm going to try not to mess with the joint at the end of the double slit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave some of the length here, and I will just attach, the tracks kind of between it. Oh, look, this track is loose. I'm just going to attach between it. So I'm going to cut this somewhere up in here, I guess. I don't know. Well, it'll probably end up getting cut shorter, but for now, it's a good enough place to cut it. And now we should be able to pull this piece of track up. And I don't know why. There we go. I don't know why this is being so difficult. I don't think I soldered that. Maybe I did solder that joint and I just don't remember it. That would be kind of interesting if I did. So that comes out there. And I've got some feeder wires and a frog wire. And the frog wire, I actually need to disconnect from underneath. So let me see if I can find these wires underneath and do this. The thing that I'm really not looking forward to is moving the switch machines, but, where's that wire? Where are you? There's the switch machine. There's the wire. It should be. Oh, I feel it. I feel it. There we go. All right, so we found the frog wire. These Pico switches have these frog wires attached that are kind of really nice to work with. I don't know whether, I don't know if I should, I don't know what I should do here. I don't know if I should leave some of this connected or if I should, I don't know what the best thing to do is. I'm trying to decide if I should cut it short and maybe pull that off. I don't need to reuse both of these. I'm only reusing one of them. So I'm not really sure. I hate when I can't decide these stupid little things. You're moving it, disconnect it all. Well, I'm only moving the things that I'm disconnecting. Live track work. Yeah, we'll see. Frog wire. Yeah, I found the frog wire. This frog wire is not green. They're actually, they're not green. Go figure. I was going to cut the wire with those. I think I'm going to get actual something to cut the wire with because I don't know. I mean, they'll probably work just fine without making a mess of anything, but all right. So there's one thing pulled out. I no longer have a mainline track going to the north yard. It's kind of interesting. I don't know, that got pulled out. It was working so well. I had to go and mess it all up. So now I got to get in here and we want to scrape up all of the old glue so that when I lay the new track down, it lays down nice and flat. So, of course, some of this tape is not coming up. I may need to take a light sand to this too. I'll wait till it dries to do that. But just take a nice light sand to it just to make sure there's nothing, impinging on anything. Come on. I guess what I could do too is now I need to get a third sensor so the staging track, the main line, and the yard lead all have a squealer on them. Basically, I've got the one squealer right here, and I've got two sensors. And you can hook up as many sensors as you want, I think. Up to, I guess up to a certain amount, but I think I can easily get away with 3 of them. So let's try and pull this out from under. I don't know that I'm going to do the super elevation again. I don't know that it really actually mattered. Scraping away the track. I guess this is one advantage of using PVA glue, just a little bit of water. And, it comes off. Not the hardest thing to get up, not the easiest thing, but I guess not the hardest thing either. I'm gonna add just a little bit more water just to do another little scrape here, just to get some of that extra PVA off. I may need more another switch machine wire because I cut them real short, so I may need another wire there. So we're gonna loosen this guy up. Well, watching water dry. Unbelievable. There should be multiple advanced warnings. Don't worry, Paul. It is not prototypical. Hey, Denny, what's going on? And he's taking a page out of your book and doing track work live. I guess I did go on to Paul's live stream and give him a ton of crap when he was doing track work live. So I guess it is only fair that that he's here to give it back to me. But pull it all out, put down HO code 83. Yeah, I don't know that we're gonna do that. We'll get the bigger scraper, do just a little bit more width. Oh, look at that. You can see it's actually taking it all the way down to the paint, which is just kind of what I want. There's a seam right here that's not quite level, so I'll have to go back and level it out again. I had put some what's it called, plaster, to help kind of level that through. So again, PVA glue. I don't know how well you can see it, but it is just coming up nice and goopy. And I'm going to grab another paper towel. I don't remember where I put them. I put them behind me. Oh, I guess somebody needs to tell me I got the wrong camera. You guys got to yell louder. I can't hear you. I should really just stop switching cameras so much. And that probably would solve the problem if I only had one camera and not 16,000 cameras. So we're just gooping it up. I'm sure that is a pleasant sight, all of this goop, as we get that nice and take it off. So now I'm going to try and work this guy up a little bit. This track I'm going to try and just kind of reuse, so it doesn't really need to go anywhere. It just needs to be at a better angle. It's a very sharp curve at the moment, and we're gonna try and just soften that up a bit, make it a little less extreme sport, and more akin to model railroad staging yard lead. Do have some wires. I think these wires are probably going to have to move. I'll probably be able to just kind of like cut them and then piece them back together. But more goo. Gotta love the goo. Is everyone enjoying the goo? The best part of model railroading is the goo. I don't know if that's true. I'm just making that up. Sounded like something good to say. I think what I'll probably end up doing is cutting these here and reattaching or adding jumpers or something to get the right curve, because that needs to curve better. I'm gonna need to find my sweep sticks too. I guess I don't need to find them. I can just lay the paper back down over it. Yeah, sorry about that. It's working, but it's apparently messed up again. I don't know if it's it could be the lavalier. It could be something else. But Ray's saying start over. So I gotta basically relay this track exactly back in the old location and start again from where that was. Gonna have to get out the vacuum. Have to wait till it dries. Okay, so I got one more section to pull up. I'm not going to cut that until I can look underneath and get a kind of better sense of how those wires are down there. But I need to work a little bit more over here. Yes, we're adjusting the camera just for the fun of it. Let's see, we can even zoom in. We'll even zoom in. So I got one more track to take out. He's just rambling to himself. When am I not just rambling to myself? Dennis, you talk to yourself as well when you're doing track work? Yeah, nobody else listens to me, so I got to talk to myself. So what is still coming out is this switch right here does not come out. I hope I didn't solder these together. I am really hoping I didn't solder that joint. I might have soldered that joint. But this switch doesn't move in the new plan. So I'm going to see what I can do. Let's do I cut this or do I try and reuse? How much of this track should I reuse? I guess there's I gapped it right here. So maybe I'll just cut it on the other side of this gap, and then I should be able to pull this other piece out. For those of you that missed it, I'm fixing the track work. The staging kind of cut in here. Instead, I'm going to leave the staging run along the back. And what that means is instead of the staging entering the layout down in this area, the staging's going to enter closer over around the window. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. John says we all missed it, but I kind of think that maybe it's just John that missed everything. I may want to reuse this switch. So again, we're going to try and be gentle-ish pulling this out. Looks like we've got, ooh, if I could keep those, if those joiners stayed, although I'll probably end up replacing them anyway. So why this is having a hard time coming up is because of this ground wire. So if I can figure out which wire that is, so I'm reaching under the layout right now, and there's about 1,000 wires down here. I'm trying to echolocate it. It is a much smaller wire than all other wires, so it was pretty easy to find. Now that I found it, I am trying to find the other end so that I can disconnect it, which I did find. Okay, so I got the wire out. Now I just gotta find something small that I can get in here and feed the wire up. All right, we're working on it. This is where I gotta take a second and think. 100 proof. Let's see if Heath uses a magic word now. No, hopefully not. Where are the clearance markers? They're all getting taken out. Well, in that area they are. So what I think might work for this is I like these pliers. I don't know if anybody's got a pair of them, but they got like a little bent hook on them. And I find these generally work pretty well for this type of thing. So you'll see the size of this wire if and when I ever actually get it out of here. And you'll understand why I'm being gentle with it. I do, you can kind of resolder these wires back on, but it's kind of finicky. So if I don't need to resolder the frog wire on, and this frog wire is green, as Dennis was suspecting earlier, Dennis number 1. There's the end of it, so that's my frog wire underneath. This one did not have any other jumpers on this switch because I used the power off of the switch next to it, and I am basically caught on the switch machine. There we go. So we got off the switch machine. There we go. So that's what needed to be removed. Now I got to clean it up, of course. I used all these little, sorry, Dennis. I used all these little ties to fill in where I removed them. Nice surgery skills. Yeah, I feel like the destruction part is the easy part, and that the hard part is kind of the quote reassembly. So if you think I'm actually scraping up past the paint, one thing to note is, so the wood color, I think you can maybe see where I'm pointing, maybe not. But there's wood color, and then there's this like white-ish paint, and then there's brown paint on top of it. So as long as I'm not scraping up too much of the paint all the way on the bottom, I won't have to worry too much about repainting it, but probably end up putting down a little bit of paint here. So what's going to end up happening, I guess this, I need to sorry, I'm trying to think and work at the same time. Let's just get a paper towel, another paper towel. Track shadowing on a layout is the mark of a true model railroader. I think it's, I mean, I don't know, but I feel like it's might be more of an ops thing. I'd actually kind of be curious. That's kind of an interesting question. People with rail fanning based layouts, like how many people kind of discover things about their layouts that they want to change and actually rip into them. Because in my experience, a lot of changes happen because you invite people over to run trains on your layout, and when they leave, they say, oh, you know what, you should do X, Y, and Z. And then you get 5 people that say, oh, you should do X, Y, and Z. And next thing you know, you're doing X, Y, and Z because multiple people have all said exactly the same thing. So we are almost to the point where I'm going to attempt to lay down marks for the new tracks, which I haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to do it yet. But the last thing I want to do is loosen this up back to here, because this is going to need to go straight. So this is going to connect to this, but there's going to be a switch back here somewhere, and it's going to connect to this and this, right? So these two. This would be better if it was a right-hand switch instead of a left-hand switch, but this is here. I don't want to move more than I need to move. So that's going to stay what it is. These are the best. If you don't have one of these kind of water bottles, I would get one. I got mine on Amazon. Don Irish could probably tell you where to get them on Temu. But these just have this really nice spray. And if you're like ballasting or something and you use a bottle like this, the spray doesn't, move all your ballast all over the room when you spray it. Wait, you haven't glued anything yet? Your mark for track 3 there is about 9 inches more to the left. Yeah, I don't need to necessarily go all the way back to here. That's just where I kind of marked it. But I've got enough water in here that it'll probably come up pretty far back to there. I just need to get enough out from under it that it'll lay flat. That's the biggest thing for me about moving this stuff around, is I feel like the original track laying was pretty good in that I didn't have like a lot of like ups and downs in the track, because like a little tiny bump in N scale is a pretty significant movement. So I tried to lay it as as flat as I can, basically. So do these two look like they line up now? I think Adam might be right where I need to go back a little bit further, but we'll see. See, it's like now I'm just like bending up the track, making a mess, trying to push the goop far enough out so it's not going to be under there when I put it back down. I don't know. We'll see. Once it dries, I'll be able to tell a little bit better how much of the goop is under there and how much of the goop I was able to remove. More paper towels. So what I'm gonna do is so this used to be the sugar industry in the back here, this track, but now that it's gonna be my staging yard lead, I'm gonna move this track up into here. And I'm gonna probably talk to this guy named Late Night Hobbies, who does some N-scale laser cutting, and I'm gonna pay him to make me a brick wall with some loading doors and stuff in it that'll kind of go around here, that'll block the staging tracks. So, like, if you need to see them, you can see them, but they'll be, like, semi-ish hidden. They won't be completely hidden, but they'll be semi-ish hidden. I do kind of really want to make this a right-hand switch, but I really also don't want to rip it out. So, what's going to happen... I'll lay the plastic down in a second, but basically what's going to happen is there's going to be a switch here, somewhere in here, right? So that's going to connect to here. That's going to connect to there. And let's see, there's probably no, there's actually not. I actually have space to get a switch machine in. Wow, it's amazing. So that's going to go about there. And then this turnout here, I may need to zoom out. This turnout is going to go up here. Somewhere up in here, and this is going to the closer one is going to connect into the yard, and the farther one is going to become the industry. And it's going to be it'll be a building door loaded industry, so it'll be, the cars will be right up against the wall that is hiding the stuff behind it. Why is the track so small? There you go. Uh-oh, what did Don say now? Oh, good session. Yeah, Don, I wish I could get over to Don's layout all the time. If you don't eat your meat, how can you have any pudding? I don't know what you guys are talking about. Yeah, I know. For those of you that had operated on this layout, I am sure all of you understand how much better this is going to be, especially Don Iris, because I kind of messed with him while he was here, and this is just going to make the whole layout just work so much better, and allow some train movement that wasn't previously possible. I'm looking at this track. And I'm wondering, maybe I don't change. I got to check what that radius is. Depending on what that radius is, I might just leave it. One thing that's neat about N scale is if you're using truck mounted couplers, like anything could basically then make that curve. The reason to soften this curve would be for 85-foot cars, but I'm not going to run 85-foot cars on the layout. I don't know, it should curve here. So, okay, so for those of you that are just arriving, because I do know this is my first 8 o'clock stream, so I knew we were going to have less people, but I appreciate those of you that did adjust your schedules. So here is the overlay. So you can kind of make it out a little bit. Some of it's hard to see, but here, this green in the back, that is the staging track. So right now it's here, and I'm looking at moving it up to here to soften that curve a little bit. That other switch is planned to go back here, which should fit fine. The other switch is going to be here. Let's see. I haven't checked yet. Yeah, there is absolutely. There's no room here for the switch machine. I'm gonna have to figure something out for this switch machine. This one might take some linkages. I'll have to remote it either way back here or come forward or something to get that in. But yeah, the idea is this will be the new industry. Will be this track in here. And I'm going to basically just put I'll put a building right here along this edge that just separates these two tracks. So you don't see the staging tracks, and they'll just have, dummy loading doors in them. And I got plenty of space between the tracks, I think, maybe, to just get something in here. It's a little tight. I don't know. It's a little tight. I'm not sure yet. So my plan is I'm going to lay the green track in the back. I'm going to lay the red track with the switch. And then we'll see what's going to happen with this industry. I might just make this a little shorty 2-car industry. Right now it's a big 8-car industry, and I kind of like having the 8 cars because this is where a lot of the variety on the layout is. It's where the tank cars are. It's where some of the fun cars go, but it may work better to just be a short little industry on the layout. So I don't know. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. I've thought of just cutting it all together, but I don't know. I feel bad cutting it as well. So I don't know what's going to happen. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I don't know what I'm going to do. Yeah, so the transparency, Denny, actually this gentleman right here, Bob, suggested it to me, and I never thought of it at all. Like here I was, like I'm printing this out, right? So I've got this all printed out and I've got this all laid down, and I'm trying to figure out how in the heck I can decide, where the tracks are to move, like, because I can't see through it. So I was kind of like, I don't know, I didn't know what to do. And then Bob goes, oh, well, just print it on transparency, duh. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way it ended up. That's where we're going. Where we are, I don't know that I know. One thing I do know is that this room needs to get cleaned up. So 2 things now need to happen before my next op session. I need to connect a track between the double slip and the main line, and I need to connect a track between staging and the main line. I just thought of 2, like, I could just make that a ground. I can make both of those ground throws for now too, and get this up and operating, and have that be the only, like the only ground throw on the railroad. This one here, This one where I don't really have room for a switch machine, that could be a ground throw. Although I guess why that, oh, sorry, I did it again. Why that won't work as a ground throw actually is that this building actually goes right here. And so there's a couple reasons this building is here. One, this building masks this corner, right? So when you're here as an operator looking into the corner, let me turn this a little bit. Sorry, Dennis. I know. So this building is here. So when you're standing in the operator's position, it kind of hides that corner a little bit. So it, you know, there aren't sharp corners like that often in model railroading. But the other thing that it does is I've got the squealer here, and I'm hiding the squealer speaker in this building as well. So that's another reason that building is there. But that would be the reason why this couldn't be a hand throw, at least long term, is just because it's kind of behind the building. And I mean, I guess it could be, right? I mean, I've been to layouts where hand throws are, I don't know, we'll figure something out. We'll make it work. I don't know. Thanks for joining me. If you're just showing up, if you don't know, I switched my live streams to 8 o'clock, so I've already been streaming for an hour. So I'm going to get out of here. Feel free to go back and watch the whole diatribe. I finally ripped out the tracks, so there's no going back now on my layout. I have to go forward. From the city that never sleeps, farewell, model citizens.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about